Hello and welcome to this video brought to you by the West Haven Public Library. In our last couple of videos, we learned how to create an account with OverDrive, which is a service provided to you by the library that allows you to borrow ebooks and audiobooks for free. And we also learned how to download the mobile app version of OverDrive, which is called Libby. And we learned how to do this on Android and iOS devices. If you haven't already created your account or downloaded the app, I would suggest you watch our previous videos so that you are caught up to speed. The links to each of those videos will be available in the description box below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, West Haven Library, so that you can be notified when we post new videos. So there are two main sections of the Libby app. They are the shelf, which is this page that we are looking at now, and then there is also the library section, and that is where you can find all of the ebooks and audiobooks that you have access to through Libby. And you can see these sections down at the bottom of your screen. Library is down here on the bottom left, shelf is down here on the bottom right. So we're going to start by taking a tour of the shelf. And the first area here, loans, this is where you can manage the titles that you have borrowed. So if you tap on loans, it'll take us to this page that shows all of your currently borrowed items. I just have the one in here, but you can borrow up to 10 items at once, and all 10 of them will be here if you check out 10 items at a time. So here you can tap on either the image of the book or this text here that says read with. Either way is going to bring up this little screen that asks you where would you like to read this book. If you select Kindle, it's going to prompt you to enter in your Amazon login information, and if you select Libby, it's just going to open automatically in the app. And we will talk more about navigating the book later on in the video. So you can tap on loans up in the top left to get back to the page we were just on. Right below Read With is this Manage Loan button. If you tap on this, it tells you some brief information about the title, such as that this particular book is the first in a series. It also tells you when your loan is due, although you don't have to worry too much about this because Libby will return the book for you automatically on the due date, so there's no chance of late fees. There is also a button for returning the book early. This is very important. If you finish this book before your due date, please return it. That way people who are on the hold list for this title don't have to wait 2 weeks to get a book that you finished in 3 days. That happens a lot. There's also a renew loan button, so if there is nobody on hold for this book and you are getting near your due date and you need more time with this book, click on the renew button and you'll get some more time with it. So to get back to your shelf, you're just going to click on this shelf button in the top left corner. You can also tap shelf in the bottom right corner. Either way is going to get you to where we need to be. And it's going to bring us back to this page that we were on before. Now right below the loans area is holds. So this area is going to show you all the items that you have placed on hold and that you are waiting for. And if you tap on holds, you can see more. So this area shows me about how long I have to wait to get this item. This little squiggly line here means approximately or about, so it's telling me that I have to wait about 5 weeks before it's my turn to borrow this book. And if you tap on this little calendar icon up here, it'll tell you a little bit more. It'll say out in words, this title will be ready for you in about 5 weeks. It also tells you your place in line, how many copies the library has, how many people are waiting in total. Information like that. So if you're 20th in line, you know it's going to be a while till you get your book. Now this Manage Hold button here, if you tap on that, it's going to give you a little bit more information. Here's where you can find out when you place the hold. You can also suspend or cancel your hold. So if you just know that you're not going to have time for this book or you don't want to borrow it anymore, you're going to do that here. Suspend or cancel the hold if you really don't want it. Alright, we're going to go back to the shelf, so again, click on shelf in the top left or the bottom right. Now the final area here is tags. This is a great feature for organizing titles that you want to read or that you have already read. The default tags that come with this app are a book icon, a thumbs up icon, and a thumbs down icon. So if you read a book you really didn't like or that you really did like, you can tag it with the thumbs up or the thumbs down so that you know not to go back to that book ever. You could also tag it with the book icon as a oh, I want to read this in the future, this is how I'm going to remember it. We will go more into detail about the tags later on in the video. For now, we're going to move on to the library section of the app, so you can tap on library in the bottom left. That's going to bring us to this page. Another important feature is the preferences feature right here. This is how you can limit the books that you see, so that you're not getting genres and book types that you don't like. So once you hit preferences, it's going to open this little menu here. And there's a few options you can change. The first is format. If you tap on books, yours will probably say any because you haven't set preferences yet, but you would set it to any, which is all books and all audiobooks, or you could set it to books only, or you could set it to audiobooks only. So if you're not a big fan of ebooks, or if you're not a big fan of audiobooks, you can choose one or the other. Language, you can choose to see titles that are available in any of these following languages. These are all that Libby has available at the current moment. You can also select books based on their audience. So if you are looking for young adult books, juvenile books, general content books, mature content books, you would select that here. That way you're not getting a mix. You can get just what you're looking for. Compatibility. Most of the titles on Libby are compatible with Libby. There's a couple that are only for Kindle or only for Adobe compatible e-reader, but they're very few. But Libby is the default, and it's usually just easier to leave it that way. Availability is good for if you are not looking for a book that's on hold. If you want a book and you want to read it right now, set it to available now. That way you don't have to open up a book and see hold instead of borrow, and then you just get frustrated. And then the sort by function, that's good for when you are searching for a book. Say you search up vampire, you want to read vampire books. You can set this sort by to sort those results by any of these. So if you're looking for recent books or popular books, you can set that using any of these functions. And once you have set all the preferences you want, you just click on this white Apply Preferences button, and that will set it to all of your future searches. It's important to keep in mind that this is not a permanent thing that you cannot change. You can change your preferences at any time just by clicking on Preferences. So don't feel like if you set juvenile books, you're never going to see another adult book again. You can always change it. Always. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to learn how to search for books using the Libby app. So right at the top of the page, there is this search bar with a little magnifying glass, search for a book. You're going to tap there, and that's where you're going to type in the title of the book you want, the genre, a keyword, anything like that, you're going to get results. So an example. So say if I type in mystery, and then I hit the search button all the way at the bottom of the page here, blue search button. Tap that. It's going to return this page here, and I can scroll through it and see all the titles that are here. The top of the page also gives me a nice little breakdown of what the app has found for me. So it shows that it found over 3,000 books. Of these 3,000 books, over 2,000 are fiction, 1,700 are mystery, 1,100 are thriller, and then there's a more button. If you tap on that, it's going to give you more information, such as 383 are historical fiction, 209 are fantasy, 63 are horror books. So it's just like the little numbers at this point. So this is where I can narrow my search down further. So say I definitely want mystery books. I'm going to tap on this little mystery function here. And once I tap that, now my search has been brought down to about 1,700 books instead of the 3,000. And say I also like suspense in my mystery books, I can choose that. And now both of these are highlighted, suspense and mystery, and now I'm only seeing almost 400 books. So now if I scroll through these, it's a little bit easier because I'm not overwhelmed by 3,000 books. And as I scroll through, I can see some general information such as, the title of the book, the author of the book, how many stars this book has received, what number it is in a series. If it is in a series at all, this one says nothing, so it's probably not a series book. So I'm going to scroll through these, and if I decide that, oh, this book looks interesting, or I recognize this author, or I just want to learn a little bit more about this book, you tap on the image of the book. And that's going to bring you to this page that has all this information about the book. So what's typically on the back of a physical book as you're going through the library, that's going to be here. And you can read through it and kind of get an idea of what this book is and whether or not you want to read it. So if you decide that, okay, this book does sound interesting, I want to read this, you're going to scroll back up to the top of the page and click on this borrow button. So tap on that. And then it's going to tell you you're borrowing this book for 14 days. It shows you that you have 1 out of 10 loans, 1 out of 10 holds. You're all set to borrow it. Click on borrow. Alright, so now that it's finished loading, I have the option to open the book and begin reading immediately. I can keep browsing, or I can go to my shelf. We're going to keep browsing for the sake of the tutorial. And then to go back to your results, just go on back to the top of the page and you should see this left arrow with our search right next to it. So you can tap that and it'll bring us right back where we were. And now say this book here, it looks interesting. I may want to read it, I may not. Here is where you can tag things. So the third option here, tag, if you tap on that, it'll give you a list of all the tags that you have. I mentioned earlier that the defaults were a book icon, a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Those 3 would be here. I got rid of those and just made 1 tag. That was just easier for me. You have the option to customize this as much as you want. If you click on this add button, you have the option to create a tag however you'd like it. They give you a few examples to choose from, but you can say I'm sorting all my books by genre. I can type in mystery. Create tag. And now it's automatically tagged it as mystery for me. If I go back and click on another book, and I go to tag it, now I have the option for read next, which is what I already had, and mystery, which I just created. So I'll tag that. Alright, and now if we go back to the shelf, so you can go right to the bottom right, click on shelf, and then tap on the tags area. And now we can see all the books that we have tagged. So read next, we didn't put anything in there, but it'll show each of our tags. So we've got tag 1, tag 2, and it'll keep going down. We added a couple to mystery, so you can tap on mystery, and now you see both of the books that we have tagged under this mystery tag. So that's a good way for you to keep books. So you're scrolling through the 390 books. You may want to read it, you may not. You tag it, you come back to it in a month. Now you don't have to restart your search from scratch. You have it somewhere and you can either read it or delete it. So now to actually read a book on Libby, we're going to go to our shelf. We're going to go to loans, and we now have 2 books checked out. So you can tap on either one. If you tap right on where it says open book, read with, or even just the icon of the book, it's going to take us to the same place. So because we've already kind of opened the book when we downloaded it, we'll click on this one. And it opens up just like this. There's this little menu at the bottom. You still have your library and shelf options, so you can get out of the book at any time. This area here shows us our progress in the book. We're on the cover currently. We're on page 1 out of 315 pages. As we get farther through the book, it'll say page 3, page 7, page 200, etc. To get rid of this little menu, you just want to tap right in the middle of the screen. That will bring the menu down and give you just a view of the book. And then to scroll through the book, you are going to swipe from the right side of the screen left. So you just swipe left, and the page kind of moves with your finger. If you went too far, you just go the opposite way, left to right, and you can go back however many pages you swipe for. Another way to do it will be to tap on the edge of the screen that you need to go to. So if you are moving forward in the book, tap anywhere on the right side, just a quick tap, and that will scroll the page for you as well. If you gotta go back, tap on the left side, and that'll bring you back. If you tap in the middle of the screen again to get our little menu back, I just want to show you a couple of the big things in the menu real quick. Right up here, the 3 horizontal lines, this typically means menu. Go ahead and click on that, and that's going to bring out this little sub-menu. These are just some options you can use while you are using this app. Using this function, you can search throughout the book for a keyword or phrase. You can also see a list of chapters in the book. If we tap on that, it'll just show right up, title page, copyright, chapters 1 through 16. I'm going to go back. Bookmarks, you can set bookmarks at any time. You can see it right here in the top left, this little rectangle with a little piece cut out of it, that's a bookmark. So whatever page you're on, if you tap on that, it will get stored in the bookmark section. There's nothing in here yet because we haven't read it yet, but they would all show in here. The reading settings, this is going to be a big one. If you tap on that, there's a few settings in here. So first, you can change the size of the text. Reading on your phone for the first time can be kind of difficult, especially because it's a small device. A little bit easier if you're using like an iPad or a tablet. So if you drag the slider to the left, the text will get smaller every time you move it over a little bit. If you drag it to the right, it'll keep on getting bigger until it's at the largest that it will get. There's also these lighting options. These are good for the different times of day. Bright is the typical white background on your phone, this bright blue light screen. Sepia, as you can see up here, made it a little more warm, orangey looking. This is really good for reading at night, in the dark. It's easier on your eyes. That's the whole point of this orangey color. It's a warm light as opposed to the blue light. Now this dark function turns the screen itself black and turns the text white. It's good for reading at night just because the screen's not so bright. You're not getting all that blue light. It's just a black screen, and if you're reading in the dark, you're in a dark room and a dark screen. So it's kind of easier to read that way. So whichever one of these that you'd like to use, you can change these at any time while you're reading, no matter what time of day it is. And then there's also fonts down here. If you really don't like the font that it comes with, or it's kind of hard to read, some publishers kind of put up some weird fonts sometimes. You can tap on each of the different fonts to change it and see how it looks. It'll show you the little preview up here. And when you find the one that you have the easiest time reading or that doesn't look so hard on your eyes, you'll stay with that, and you'll click on Done to save the changes you made. And then you'll just tap on the middle of the screen again, and you're back to reading. Alright, and that's pretty much everything on how to use Libby on your mobile devices. There is so much that you can do with this app, and as we saw with the tags, there is a lot of customization options available to you, and there's so much built into this app. So if you have any questions at all, or if I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.